Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 191 of The Rewind, a podcast dedicated to keeping its listeners on the cutting edge of the MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. As always, Draq and I take the first moment of the show to thank you, the listener. If not for you, we would still be doing this, but it'd be a very boring broadcasting to nobody, so thank you for making a part of your weekly-ish schedule. Since you're here anyway, hit that like and subscribe or give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Every little bit helps. And if you're feeling extra spicy, we've got Patreons and memberships too. Get in on the weekly raid team and join our private Discord where I will berate your terrible top 5 lists each week for my own personal amusement. Love you! Lastly, we bring back our longest friend in the world of streaming, Nathan Napalm. Nathan is the one man that Draq and I could ever have a 3-way bromance with, and we brought him in to discuss his time in the past weekend's Monsters and Memories playtest. Don't worry, there will still be Pantheon news, but we will be making the ultimate sin of comparing these two games. Get ready for us to stir the pot. Now, on with the show!
The town of Duskmar was cloaked in fog when the artifact vanished. A sapphire orb known as the Eye of Atrium. The local magistrate called for the realm's finest. Instead, he got them. Anton Dubiditis, the Dark Mirror Shaman Glyph Keeper, studied magical residue with glowing glyphs. The thief used planar displacement recently. Sloppy work. Churodu, the gnome summoner, conjured a spectral bloodhound. Sniff the arcane traces, boy. Good boy. Calorok, the dwarf paladin, paced with Archbishop at his side. Who steals from a locked temple surrounded by holy wards? A heretic with a death wish, Archbishop grunted. Eliv, the halfling rogue, crouched near a window. Glass cut clean. They had thieves' tools, or really sharp fingernails. Ziplux, the Dark Mirror Rogue, nodded, and boots designed to throw off tracking. Professional. Annoying Llama, the human monk, was silent, eyes closed. The wind remembers their scent. They moved northeast, fast. Screech, the Scar Bard, dressed as a sea urchin and wandered the alleys, playing a ballad titled Who Stole the Shiny? And listening carefully. Dwimble, the gnome rogue, had already bribed half the city's rats for rumors. By midnight, the party stood by an unmarked cellar. Anton smiled. Time to knock. Archbishop kicked in the door as Calorog moved in with his shield raised. To be continued.
It's a battle of dreams, optic sauce and pride. Two worlds collide on this epic ride. Pantheon brings the polish, the climbing the lore. But memories has that old school hardcore. Choose your fate, grab your blade and see which world will set your spirit free.
All right. Welcome, Nathan Napalm back to the Rewind. We're so excited to have you.
We love you, Nathan!
So glad to be back on, guys. My favorite thing about podcasts is I'm coming at you guys from the bathroom.
Excellent.
I can do that on a podcast.
I hear that echoing. It sounds so good. The acoustics from your toilet are just really good.
Yeah.
I can't believe, how did we get so lucky to hit you on that weekly time schedule? If you know, you know. We're not going into it here on the podcast.
Yep.
All right. Well, we're here today. To compare Pantheon Rise of the Fallen with Raid Shadow Legends. Oh, wait, never mind.
Raid Shadow Legends!
Hey, I don't know why we're comparing these two MMOs. They literally have nothing in common.
Nothing. Not one thing.
But, here we are.
But we did have a lot of fun with the Monsters and Memories playtest over the weekend, and I thought to myself, Wouldn't it be fun if we compared Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, the good things about it, to the good things about Monsters and Memories? Now, we don't want to drag things down too much because this is 2025 and Dymlos and I have promised to be uplifting and supportive this year. So we're going to keep it mostly positive.
We're trying, Nathan. We're trying.
This is our best effort. So we're gonna keep it uplifting. We're gonna keep it fun, and we're gonna talk a little Monsters and Memories versus Pantheon. You ready, Nathan?
I'm ready.
Would you like to start with Pantheon first or Monsters and Memories first?
Let's start with Pantheon.
All right.
I think
The old favorite, the old standby, the Mount Tamer extraordinaire, Chevron Crusher, best game. Here we go.
All right, so I'm going to list off what I think are my kind of top things about Pantheon, and then you tell me if you agree or not. And then if you have any that you think that I missed at the end, you can add them in.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Number one, I think that the graphics of Pantheon and the animations are really good and superior to Monsters and Memories. I like the look of it. They're both made in Unity, but I think that Pantheon's looks better. I'm an old graphics guy. I like the old graphics better, but I've come to love the new graphics as well. And maybe not as much as the old graphics, but I like the way they look. I definitely think that for me, Monsters and Memories, the graphics, it's not that I will not play it, but it's definitely not as appealing as Pantheon's. What do you say about that, Nathan?
Yeah, I agree with you mostly. I do think the graphics are better in Pantheon overall. I do think, though, that Monsters and Memories is better as far as the way the races are designed. I think are more aesthetically pleasing and unique than so far in Pantheon. Like, I liked every race better except for the ogre. I do like the Pantheon ogre better.
I don't know. That Monsters and Memory elf is pretty rough with those ears sticking out straight to the side.
See, I liked it. I don't know why, but I liked it, dude. I liked it.
It's kind of Hyrulean.
Yeah, it's a little Hyrulean, which I'm a fan of. And, you could see them coming from, they'd be like a dot running, but you could see those ears poking out. You're like, oh, it's an elf.
I do like the dwarf better, though. I think the dwarf in every way is better than the Pantheon dwarf in Monsters and Memories. I love the jump roll. I think that's amazing. And the beards, the unibeard. I love the unibeard. It's
good.
So awesome. So, yeah.
But overall, obviously, I think if anybody's honest with themselves, the graphics are better in Pantheon. They're higher fidelity. They got more polygons. They're more complex.
But it's an old school game. It's supposed to look like an old game from 1999. It's not supposed to be good in any way, shape, or form.
Yikes.
Disagree.
No. What about the UI? I think that the Pantheon UI is marketably better than, except for one exception, Monsters and Memories. The UI is better. Pantheon tracks buffs. It tracks buffs on your targets. It tracks buffs on your enemies. You can see debuffs on your bars. You can also have an offensive and defensive target, and also you have this little arrow by your group members, so you can tell where they are, what direction they're in, so you can find them. And I am so lost in Monsters and Memories because I do not have arrows to find people in the same zone as me.
You're lost in Pantheon with the arrows anyway. It doesn't matter. You're always lost.
I'm less lost.
Oh, okay. The truth comes out.
Deeper into the lost.
What about you, Nathan?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that Monsters and Memories could take from the Pantheon UI. I think also the UI is more aesthetically pleasing also in Pantheon, and there's more options and ridiculously, Pantheon wins on the ability or spell art, right? So on your hotbar, the little artwork for each little,
Oh yeah,
ability.
100%. Yep,
Pantheon
100%.
kills them on that for sure. But yeah, I just think it looks better. Now they've upgraded Monsters and Memories since the last play, and it looks way better than it used to. So they're coming along. I don't know how far they're going to take it though. I think they're maybe going for it looks like it's an old UI. I don't know.
Well, we've got a while before they hit EA, so they've got some time.
There is one thing in Monster Memories that I like better than Pantheon, which is not a small thing for some classes. Monsters and Memories actually puts your pet bar in the group UI. And so you can target it and heal it off the group UI, which is huge if you're a healer and trying to heal a pet, or if you're a pet class and you want to see the health of your pet. And Pantheon doesn't have that. And it's a nice feature.
Also, as a tank, if like I'm trying to get a little bit of health, it's a hard fight and the pet would take it, I knew when to start taunting it off the pet easily because it would, their health bar would pop up. I would know.
Yeah, I really like that feature. I think it adds for some depth of gameplay, and I think that Pantheon should steal it. What about death penalty? I favor the Pantheon death penalty. I like death penalty. I want to be penalized when I die. I want it to be painful. But I like keeping my gear and my skills. I don't want to have to run naked back to my body. It really feels super punishing in Monsters of Memories. And maybe I'm just been babied too much over the years, or maybe I'm just a softie at this point, but I like the Pantheon system better. What do you think?
You're a soft 94-year-old man, Jack.
I agree. Look, I love death penalty. It's got to be there. Your game's not going to be as nobody's going to respect your world. But man, I hate it when it happens to me. In Monsters and Memories, man, I do like that I was naked in one aspect. I knew I had to loot my corpse, because in Pantheon I forget to loot my corpse because I got my stuff on, and my brain just thinks I don't need to. But
That makes sense.
the abilities, man, like having to put my spells, not only to get my spell book back, but then having to put all my spells back on my ability bar, man, I'm not going to remember that ever. I'm going to always start the next fight like, crap, none of my spells are out, you know? I don't like that. I think at the very least, auto put our abilities back on after we get our book back. Like, at the very least, come on, how about you trying to punish us here?
It's a lot of busy work, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, this next one probably isn't too fair, but I'm going to say it anyway. Climbing and sprinting. Now, this goes for every other MMO other than Pantheon. And if you've played a lot of Pantheon, every other MMO you play, you're trying to A, climb things, and you're B, trying to sprint with the shift button. And it never happens. And it always makes me sad, and I always want it. I think that Pantheon has done such a great job with movement and climbing and the terrain. I just think that, like, once you do that and once you experience that, it's really hard to go back. And they've done such a good job with that.
Not that you ever hit the sprint button.
Whoa.
Listen, yeah, I don't even know why you put this in there, because you've never hit it once.
What about you, Nathan? Are you constantly hitting the sprint button in Monsters?
I held sprint the entire time I played. Every time I was running from a mob when we were trying to zone it, I held sprint. I didn't even try to break myself of it. I just felt like maybe it would work somehow, so I did it the whole time. I got to say, though, about climbing, though, that I actually... Did you guys not try out the Monsters and Memories climbing? It's old school style, so it's more like jumping. Find a tiny little spot so you can jump somewhere you're not supposed to be. I do think Pantheon's...
Oh, you mean exploiting. Okay, great.
I do think Pantheon's climbing obviously is a huge feature and a game changer. And even other MMOs, like anything else I play, I'm always like, if this is Pantheon, I could climb that. But no, I'm going to have to run all the way around the stupid cliff. I think that's definitely something Pantheon has over almost every other MMO.
You know, I also like the ding sound. The ding sound is gargantuan. It really reminds me of the EverQuest ding sound. And also, the fact that your group mates can hear the ding sound is huge for me. And the Monsters of Memory ding sound really leaves a lot to be desired. Sometimes we would miss it. Like, I'd look down and I'm like, oh, I dinged, and I didn't even notice it. And so I really think the Pantheon has the better ding sound. And some people might think that's a really dumb thing to list on Pantheon versus Monsters and Memories, but like the whole reason we play this game is to level up. Right. And the leveling up, when you hit that next level, you should make it a biggest deal as possible. And if I miss it, that's a fail on the game. And so I really think that Pantheon does a better job. When you ding, you know you ding. Even sometimes the people around you know you ding. Yeah. It's in Monsters and Memories, it's almost forgettable. And if I was Monsters and Memories, I would definitely steal that from Pantheon.
I agree that the ding sound is super important. I pay attention to it in every game I play. Most games don't care about it. They just have some kind of something, and it ain't that big of a deal. I do think both of these games developers understand the importance of ding. And I actually thought the Monsters Memory ding was really good. It sounded holy. It was like, oh, and I did notice it every time, and I was like, oh sweet, I dinged. I think the ding sound in the more classic EverQuest ding sound, although I think it's one of the best ever made. I don't know. To me, I feel like they should do something different because Pantheon's not EverQuest. I actually feel like Monsters and Memories should be using that ding sound, and Pantheon should come up with their own. That's my opinion. But I really did enjoy it. They're both good. But I really did like the Monsters and Memories one. I think I do like it a little bit better.
Oh, sacrilege. That's fine. And the last thing I want to talk about for Pantheon that I think Pantheon does better than Monsters and Memories is being able to sell anything to anyone and also having greater bag space. Nothing is Monsters and Memories and the starter levels. It's so frustrating because all I want to do is sell the crap in my bags and then buy a bag so I can get more loot when I go out to adventure. And then I go to the vendor and the vendor's like, I don't buy your crap. And then I go to another vendor. And then so I have to play this dumb game where I wander around the city to every vendor to find who will buy what and for how much money. And some vendors pay more and some vendors pay less. So I'm supposed to keep this spreadsheet of vendor prices and that I'm supposed to then to get the optimal, because that's the way my brain works. Like I'm thinking like I have to sell for the most money. And I just like I don't want to play this game. This is not what I want to do in my MMO. Just let me sell stuff to everyone. This is overreaching and I don't like it. And also your bags are too small. So what do you think?
I like a big sack. Okay. I like a big sack to carry lots of things, large items, obviously. I think it sucks in Monsters and Memories really bad right now because we're limited how much time we can play it. So I don't want to, we would disperse to go do town stuff, go buy our spells, sell our crap, and it would take forever. And it's like, we don't have time. This is only 1 weekend we get to play. So it was really aggravating because of that. I think they're onto something, just needs some tweaks because I think it is cool that like, oh, if I go and sell a weapon piece to a blacksmith, he'll pay the best. But what I didn't think was cool was that like you go to the shady vendor, whatever his name was, and he wouldn't buy some stuff. He's paying you less for the stuff he buys than if you went to the real vendor. But he should at least buy everything, even if you get less money. Because if you're in a hurry, okay, I'm in a hurry. I just need to empty my 6 slots that I'm allowed to hold here, so I can get back to fun stuff. He should buy it, and that way you can get back to the adventure. But I think I'd be less stressed and annoyed by it if the game was launched or available to play more. And then I wouldn't mind more tedious things to get more gold. Does that make sense?
And that's how we were in pre-alpha as well. So
yeah.
I think you're just not remembering how it was back in the day in Pantheon too. It was
Pantheon
terrible.
used to be. Yeah. And the bag game, dude. Oh my gosh. Does anything drop bags? Does anything drop bags?
Nothing drops bags. I don't know. I don't mind being restricted by bags. I just think that the hunting around the city for stuff to sell is it's rough.
Yeah.
So I've gone over my things for Pantheon. Nathan, do you have anything to add? What do you think Pantheon does better than Monsters and Memories?
So we have to judge it off of what's available right now. I want to preface it by that, okay? And based on that, Pantheon does have more diversity. I know, it's had longer to bake. Listen, I can't help that, okay? I'm just talking about what we got now. It has more diversity in mobs. It has more diversity in camps. It has more diversity in biomes. Monsters and Memories is at that stage that Pantheon was in for 6 years where we were just like in the same spots, right? This is where you go, and there wasn't a whole lot of options. We had a hard time finding mobs sometimes that weren't completely camped because there wasn't enough. And I know Pantheon has that problem too, but I feel like Monsters and Memories had it way worse as of now. I think that'll change over time.
We had problem finding camps too, just because there were 3 servers and there were a lot of people playing over the weekend. You got to that 4 to 7 range and all the camps were camped because we kind of knew where to go. We had done the test before, so we kind of knew, well, there's 4 or 5 spots that are really good experience. Every single one of them was camped. There was no real other place to go. And I know you explored the Elf City.
Mm-hmm.
But was there places over there to kill things?
Yeah, they had mobs. I don't know how great it was because I just ran around and tagged a couple of things, but it had its own variety of mobs that weren't over in the desert area. So yeah, it was. We didn't really play there. I just ran around for a while. Yeah, it did.
Oh, very interesting. So we could have made all elves and been over there and seen totally new stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like when we did with Wild's End. Okay, very cool. All right, well, let's move on to Monsters and Memories then. The number one thing for Monsters and Memories that I like about Monsters and Memories is I feel like they nail the group aspect of the game. It really feels like classic EverQuest in terms of I need to have a group of some kind. I need at least 3 to 6 people and to get something done, and I need to form up. I need to have people to group with, and it's exciting and fun when I do get a group. And we had both a static and we also had anywhere from 3 to 4 pugs over the weekend and we hit the skeleton dungeon off the starter zone, and we just had a blast. And I just love the old school feeling of EverQuest grouping and camping and just exploring together. And I feel like Pantheon is one of its tenets is to do this, but I feel like Monsters and Memories does it better. And that Pantheon, because it's so worried about the solo player and that avenue, the newer player, that it misses out on some of the classic EQ experience.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. Like the group, I didn't feel punished even at level 1 for grouping. I felt it was obviously better all the way through. Solo for a little while waiting for a group, and it was harsh, right? Like you could do it just like you could in EverQuest, killing greens and blues. It was brutally slower, right? And then as soon as I started getting one more party member, it more than doubled. I got 3. It started feeling good. We got 4 or 5, and it felt great. And also, the actual mechanics of us working together felt really good too. Maybe just a tad bit better than Pantheon on just the classes kind of working together kind of thing as various groups I was in. So yeah, I'm with you. It feels like classic EverQuest to the absolute core. It's just what you want to do. As soon as you log in, you're looking for more.
Absolutely. And I'm an old curmudgeon-y, cranky guy, right? And I have to be incentivized to add people that I don't know what they're going to do. And they could do crazy crap and they could get me killed. So I have to be incentivized to add them in the group. And I really feel like Monsters and Memories incentivizes me to fill out my group with not just my friends and not just people in my stack, not just people I know. It really incentivizes me to get that 6th person and just to roll through stuff. And I really like that feeling from Monsters and Memories. I really like the mob behavior in Monsters and Memories, especially in the dungeon. The skeleton clerics had mana. The skeleton casters had mana. They used their spells. They healed the other mobs. It really felt engaging and like they were supporting each other and feels really good. And I know that there are aspects. I think Pantheon's maybe more complicated, but there's just, I don't know, the monsters in Monsters and Memories just felt a little bit more old school in the way that I liked it.
I agree with that. Yeah, it felt like EverQuest in a lot of ways. I still think there's maybe a little bit more variety is needed to create a little bit more of those intense moments. But man, knowing when you got several of the undead skeleton clerics and they'd be healing each other, but you knew how much mana they had left, that felt really good. Or trying to interrupt the healing, but then if you couldn't interrupt or you had 2 and the other one's healing, I don't know. I thought that was really good gameplay. I loved it. And I do think that Pantheon does more things with their mobs, but I hate to be mean here, but I think sometimes those things aren't fun. They're just annoying. I feel like Pantheon does a little bit too much of, hey, there's this mechanic and if you mess it up, you're dead. And it's like, okay,
right.
Do I have to die? Like, couldn't you just like take half
100%.
my health or something,
And also it's like, you have to figure it out in the fight. Like there is no not figuring it out because the mob's going to heal to full every time until you figure it out.
Until you figure it out. Yeah,
right.
That's a little
There's
much.
no outlasting the mob because it has infinite mana forever. Yeah. And I know Pantheon wants to have mobs that have limited mana, but they don't now. Right. And it makes it really rough. This is the 3rd time the dumb mob is healed to full, and it's not even a boss mob.
If it was like a rare thing where like a very specific mob had unlimited mana and it's built
right, or it's a named mob.
Yeah, or a named mob or something, but it's like, they'll be regular, it's just regular mobs and it'll act like that. Yeah, I was super impressed as soon as we realized that like it showed their mana and they had mana like you do. I was super impressed with that and I was immediately like, this is how it should be. And you know what? There was I would say this though. One thing about mob behavior that I do think Pantheon does better is obviously where you've got what are they called? The traits. I do
Oh
think
yeah, the
that
traits are
is
super fun.
that super is cool and probably something Monsters members should try to do something maybe just a little bit like that. Even if you don't tell us that you're doing it, you know what I mean? But make it rare. It should be all the time. Just to throw us off our guard, like what? Why is this one doing this? I think that's a great idea. And besides that, though, I think besides that one detail, Monsters Memories has them beat overall.
They also have a beat in trains. I love trains, and we got trained like 20 times in that dumb skeleton dungeon, and we died a bunch, and some of it was unfair, and I didn't even care. We were aggroing through the floor, right? But I didn't care because the trains are so good, and they snowball, and they go all the way to the entrance, and it's just like this huge thing that clears the whole zone, and then you die, you go back to the zone, and there is this glom of 30 people sitting outside the zone, all sitting there naked. And you're just like, this is awesome.
Yep.
And somehow, and I don't understand, I don't know what it is, but somehow Pantheon has missed this. It doesn't happen in Pantheon like that.
No.
We don't get trains that go all the way back to the zone. I don't know if people can't make it. They die too soon. Is it because of the climbing? I don't know what it is, but we don't have trains that are already happening in Monsters and Memories.
It's true. We had we had pulled a bandit, like a bandit mage, just to see if we could take it. And real quickly we were like, nope. And so we started running with it back to the zone line. We're like switching aggro so that none of us die. He ended up getting me. And then, dude, he just started killing random people, like just chilling. There's people just sitting around, just resting, and that mage just started killing people, dude. And like, some people would be like, how is that fun? What? Listen, it's maybe not nice, but we were laughing so hard we were choking because there's like people running trying to fight this mage all together like it was an event in the game. You know what I'm saying? He was
it's a raid mob.
That's good fun. That's good emergent gameplay, man.
And it keeps the world dangerous. This one not named mob that's not even out of place has all of a sudden made this newbie area dangerous. And so now every time you walk around in Monsters and Memories, anytime I'm in that dungeon, my head is on a swivel. I'm like paying attention, because I know at a moment's notice, this whole thing can go south. Yep. And I just don't have that fear in Pantheon. One thing I really like about Monsters and Memories is the campfire system. You build a little fire and you set it down kind of where you want to camp, and then you get like some rested XP, and I don't know if there's maybe plans for other bonuses I think it's the survival skill that does this. Anyway, you build this little campfire and it gives you bonuses. One, I think that's cool, because I like the idea of having a camp. And two, I like that idea because then you kind of can say to like the other group, like, hey man, we were here. We built the campfire. This is our camp.
True.
This is like the idea of like, okay, we put our campfire down. We claimed it. I just like that idea. I think it's fantastic. I've never seen this in any other MMO, and I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. Dark Age Camelot did it too, by the way, but I do think it's definitely better in Monsters and Memories. But they did say they're going to be adding more things to that whole system. But yeah, man, and another thing that really helps, because Monsters and Memories, when it's nighttime, if you don't have infravision, even if you do, it's still dark. It's really dark, P99 dark at night. And if you're pulling, if you got a campfire, you literally know where your camp's at, right? Like you're running towards that campfire. And that had a good feel to it at night. And yeah, getting a little bonus for camping is always a good thing. I do think Pantheon needs to find, they don't have to do a campfire, but they need something that encourages that kind of gameplay, because I thought it's really good.
Yeah, I didn't even think about having it out at night for the polar. That's really good.
Yeah, it helps.
Another thing about Monsters and Memories, I just feel like they have so many friggin' classes.
Yeah.
And it's just fun having tons of different classes that do tons of different things. And for right now, maybe when it gets to later levels, maybe it's going to be too combobulated or whatever. But I really like the idea of playing a race class combination that no one else plays on the server, right? I'm the original Erudite Shadow Knight, and nobody else played that because it had the suckiest stats and nobody did it. But I did it because I wanted to be different, and I wanted to be like someone when they saw walking down the road in full Shadow Knight armor and that wasn't Erudite, they're like, oh, that must be Draq because no one else has that. I just think with this many classes, you have such an opportunity to just make yourself unique, or not unique necessarily, but really stand out among all the other people. And you're going to have so many different combinations that you're going to be able to be a person that is known by just what your race class is and what you look like. Now, of course, there's going to be people that min-max the best classes and do all that stuff, but that's part of the game, right? Let them do their thing. That's fine. I want to be original.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the class variety is really good. They have an archer and a ranger. I don't know what the differences are, but they are. And, there's just a lot of options. And I think options are never a bad thing. The more classes you have, the more opportunities for people playing with you that don't play your class to be like, ooh, I want to make one of those too one day. That's a good keep them in the game, keep them playing the game kind of thing. And I do feel like we're moving towards MMOs only having 4 to 6 classes.
If your MMO only has 4 classes, you're friggin' fired.
Dude, they do that, though. It'll be like tank, healer,
yes,
and 2 different ranged and
melee DPS.
Melee DPS.
Yep.
And that's your classes.
Just friggin' awful. Just burn. Yeah, it's no good. I want variety in my classes. I want to be able to be different than the other people. I want different abilities. They can mesh, like the druid and the ranger can mesh, and cleric and paladin can mesh. But I want substantial differences between my classes, and I want lots of variety. And man, Monsters really delivers there. All right, last but not least, and this one hurts a little bit, Nathan. This one hurts a little bit.
Okay. My heart is ready.
All right. Monsters and Memories really just crushed their roadmap. Just like crushed it. This is the perfect roadmap. This is what I want. I want a clear vision. I want not tons of detail. I don't want overload of information. I just want, what are your main goals and when are they happening? Dates is very important. And what's the plan for the year? And they just freaking crushed it. And I just love it. And also, just like in general, I feel like Monsters and Memories has a plan and they're executing on the plan. Sometimes I just feel like Pantheon's all over the place, and they're just like, oh, look at this. There's a squirrel over there. Let's do mount taming, and like, let's put that in the list. And like what? Like, What are you? That was never on the list. Like, what is going on here? Also, it just feels like Monsters and Memories is more accomplishable. Like, they've set their bar so much lower than Pantheon. So I just have more of a sense of like they're going to cross the finish line.
Yeah, Monsters and Memories roadmap was better and more clear, and feels like you said, it feels like they're going to pull it off because they over-exceeded stuff in the past. From the very beginning, they were like, hey, let's test and see if the servers work. And there was tons of content in the game. We're like, what? I just feel like they've under-promised and over-delivered the entire time. And I hate to say it because I love Pantheon to death and I love everybody on the team, but like, Pantheon's development has felt like if you had a newborn baby and you're like, your wife's like, hey, let's teach him to walk. And you're like, yeah. And you do that for 10 minutes and then you throw him in a car and like, you can drive now. No, wait, back to walking. Let's put him in a marathon next week. Like, it's just like, guys, what are you doing? Let's worry about the important things for right now and get those fleshed out before we go off into Crazy Town. Whereas Monsters and Memories seems to be building in a classic kind of way, building towards things that is going to make us enjoy the game now. Just a better content path compared to Pantheon.
That's the end of my list for Monsters and Memories. Did I leave anything out?
We got to talk about the weather effects because that lightning storms.
Oh, those are real good. I should have added those in.
and the sandstorm looked great, and it just changed the entire zone when it started. The thunder looked so stinking good, mixed with the rain particles falling, and then it would light everything up at night. You'd see a streak of light. We literally saw lightning hit somewhere out in the freaking it wasn't just in the sky, it actually hit the terrain. Man, the next level on that. I was blown away when they started testing that.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't think I saw the sandstorm, but we definitely saw the lightning, and it was real good. The sky is better. I don't know how the sky is so much better than Pantheon. The Pantheon sky used to be amazing. There's this amazing video that they ran a long time back with the old graphics where it had Stormhold in the background, and it was like this daytime progression where it fast forwarded, where it went into sunset, and you had the two moons and like the whole shebang, right? And it was just beautiful.
It looks so good.
And now the sky just looks like blots of paint on a canvas or something. It's not good. Yeah, the Monsters of Memory sky looks really, really good. The weather effects look good. I like the Pantheon rain. And I like the fog.
I like it too. Yeah.
I like the fog, but the combined darkness with rain with fog is just oppressive. It's just oppressive.
Now, the fog looks better on Pantheon, especially the new fog. Nobody, take me out and drag me out and murder me for saying that. The new fog in Pantheon is way better than the fog in Monsters and Memories. But, man, those sandstorms look so good. And then the particles of rain I felt was just a little bit better than Pantheon's. But the lightning, and I've been begging them to bring that back to Pantheon. So I knew that the developers of Monsters and Memories wouldn't know this was a loaded dice question. I had one in chat when we were looking at the rain, and I knew he didn't know this was a loaded question, right? That he would answer it innocently. So I asked him, I said, by doing the lightning and all these effects that are happening right now, how bad does that hit performance? And he said, not noticeable. Where you at, Visionary Realms? Where you at? Because I thought we took out lightning because it was just this horrible performance killer, and we're trying to work out a solution. Well, listen, I don't know what Monsters and Memories did, but it lit up the night. It cracked. It freaking shot across the sky. It looks so good. Where you at? Where you at? Because they're kicking your butt on that, dude. So bad. It was embarrassing how bad they're kicking your butt, to be honest.
Wasn't there supposed to be a zone in Pantheon where there were like puddles, and then if you stepped in the puddle, the lightning was going to hit the puddle?
They mentioned that, yeah.
Wasn't that a thing?
They mentioned a long time ago, thundering something. I think, I do think that will come one day. We don't even have lightning at all right now. And we have the sound effects, and they're really cool. And look, that's something we should have mentioned. Pantheon definitely has the better audio.
They have PVL and Phil.
They have PVL.
So they're going to win, right?
They definitely got the better audio. But besides the audio aspect of it, like the visual effects really just, if Pantheon could just get the exact effects of Monsters and Memories in their game mixed with their really high quality audio, it would be a game changer. Like it really would.
Yeah, audio is a big deal in an MMO. Like your music and your audio, and if it sounds good, like it changes the nature of the game itself.
Yeah.
After all that's been said and done, I would still have to say that after playing Monsters and Memories all weekend, I'm still leaning Pantheon as my favorite MMO. Just slightly. Not that I'm not going to probably play both games. Not that I'm super going to enjoy Monsters and Memories whenever I can. And definitely when it comes out next year in more of a long-form playable content type thing, I'm going to be all over it. But, I'm just still kind of leaning Pantheon. I like the new school feel of progressing rather than just like kind of an EverQuest remake. And I get the idea of a EverQuest remake, but that's not the direction that I personally want to go. I understand people that do want to go that way, but for me, just slightly, I like Pantheon just slightly better still. How about you? Currently, this can always change.
Yeah, this can change. Yeah, so I hate to be this guy, but I really am right in the middle now. I'm right dead in the middle. Pantheon may have just a super slight lead for me, just because I do like the Paladin and Pantheon better than the Paladin Monsters Memories. Just a little bit. It's not a big difference, but man, I like the Paladin Pantheon. I feel like that gameplay loop is fun forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a great gameplay loop of skills and abilities and things. And also, I'm sorry, even though I kind of get where you're going with it, and in a lot of ways I even agree with it, and on the stream I straight up defended it, but then after I stepped away from the game for a while and thought about it, what's up with that lay on hands? You gotta wait till level 8. I don't know if I like that. I get my lay on hands in Pantheon immediately. I get my lay on hands immediately in EverQuest. I gotta wait till level 8 for Monsters and Memories. I don't know about that. I think we need a class defining something as soon as we start that class. You know what I mean? That's what gets you addicted right from the get-go. You know, Harm Touch, Lay on Hands. Sorry, that's the only classes I play. I can't say anymore, but you know what I mean. You know, like, we need something, and it makes you addicted to that class right from the get-go. And in Monsters and Memories, you got to wait till level 8, which means I didn't even get to do it the whole time because I got to 8, but I didn't have time to go to town to get it. So
getting your skills and spells right away and being able to function as your class is super important.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Pantheon struggles in that area, right? Sometimes it feels like in Pantheon, I'm waiting forever for spells and skills. I'm still super excited for both projects. Still going to play both projects, and I think it's going to be super fun.
Like we said in another episode, though, no matter what, one of these two games is going to get more of our attention.
I know.
And I don't know which one it's going to be at this point.
I have no idea
used to
either.
feel pretty comfortable being Pantheon. I really felt pretty comfortable. Like, yeah, I'll play Monster Memories like twice a week. Pantheon will be my everyday. I don't know now. I'm starting. I don't know. We're just going to have to see where it lands. I really am not sure at this point.
Also, the idea that they're not direct competition is just so idiotic. Like, I'm sorry, it's just idiotic. It's just not facing the facts. Over the weekend, I checked Twitch, so did some other people at different times. There were moments, several times that I checked, there were 0 people streaming Pantheon. And that's directly related to the fact that all the Pantheon people are playing the Monsters of Memory and streaming the Monsters of Memory. Like, we're all in Monsters of Memory doing the Monsters of Memory thing. Because, I get it. It's only open and available for a certain period of time, and that's how it is. But
that's true too.
When both games are released, that's how it's going to be all the time, and we're going to have to choose. What are we going to do? Are we going to be in Pantheon? Are we going to be in Monster Memories? And we're going to have to make a choice.
You know, Monsters and Memories has some really old school stuff in it. Like, it's actually already in the game. I just don't know if anybody could afford to have done it. You can buy a little marketplace in the town and set it up and sell your goods like a bazaar style, right? That's in the game right now. Could I see myself playing Pantheon and on my second screen I got my character set up trying to sell some? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I could see that. I could see a world where I'm doing some of the simpler things in Monsters and Memories while I'm, out doing fun stuff in Pantheon. And then I don't know if Pantheon will have those more boring kind of AFK kind of things. But if it did, I could see me switching. But one of these I'm going to like more. And I'm going to want to play it more. And I don't know which one it will be.
I wish it wasn't the case, but that's how it's going to go.
And this is the same crowd. Like, that's why they're going to be compared. They're both shooting for the exact same kind of people who like old school, classically spirited MMOs. They're going to do battle. And they're both have their own legitimate claims of being an EverQuest type. They're going to do battle. And one of them's going to do better than the other one, right? And we'll just have to see how that goes. But to say that they're not competing at all is dumb, and also nobody believes that, and everybody knows that's not true because we have friends who are already being like, I'm going to play one or the other, and right now I like this one better, and I'm going to play that one, and I'm not doing 2 subs, so I'm going to play that one. Already, people we know are already making that decision.
I don't have enough time in my day to play 2 sub games. I can afford 2 sub games. Now I make a little money in my life, but I don't have the time to play 2 sub games anymore. So I'm going to commit to 1. I'm sorry, that's how it is.
And you are in the majority, in my opinion.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, VR news and notes. And also, we're going to bring Dymlos back. He's probably been golfing this whole time, but we're going to go ahead and bring him back.
Oh, am I allowed on this show anymore? I thought this was the Draq and Nathan show.
You better be careful, because
Yeah,
it
right.
just might be.
I just got replaced.
I doubt Nathan is going to be willing to slave over editing sound for hours every week, so you're probably still safe.
Oh, good.
There was some other Pantheon news that happened this week, so we wanted to make sure to cover it. And the number one news is server merges.
Womp, 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 womp.
It kind of went that way, and it didn't necessarily go well for VR. It wasn't necessarily smooth. I don't know. What did you think, Nathan? How did you think the server merges went?
Okay, I have to say this as a privileged streamer.
Privilege, yes, called out in the Discord and the comments.
As a privileged streamer, it didn't affect me as much as it did the common man. Okay,
Listen, this goes to show all you have to do is write a song about your server, and then your server would have won. But instead, we wrote a song and we won.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah, it was smart.
Good call on that.
The musicians have won, okay?
Exactly.
This is the only time in the history that the musicians won. Let us have our day.
Yeah, I feel bad for everybody because, chat was telling me how rough it was, right? Like, I didn't have to live that life because I had a static because we get together and we stream. Maybe we just got lucky, but we found our camp spot, no problem. I just didn't feel the effect of it. I could tell how bad it would be by running around and looking at how many people are on and how we had so many shards. And I do think it had to be done. They needed to do it. I think maybe they just combined too many into Stormona, right? I feel like they were like...
It was like 9 servers that they combined with Stormona, one of which already had 3 shards.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. Why are we combining servers with other servers that have shards? That makes no sense to me.
They should have been left alone. Yeah. Yeah, it probably does save them money, less expenditures, I assume. I don't know. But it was starting to get a little rough for people. I was getting a lot of people were telling me they were having trouble finding groups on Stormona.
For sure. It
it
was a near dead server for sure.
Yeah, so it had to be merged.
We are the population, the Nathan Napalm channel and the Static Group Live channel. We are that population, and we've all played it. We've been VIPs forever now. We've played our bit of it, and so of course we're going to get a little bored with it. And we also know that this is not a game that you should be playing full time, and this is something that we have said on the Rewind ad nauseum. This is not a game that is done that you should be sinking 40 to 80 hours in a week. There's not enough content. So if you are a 40-hour Pantheon a week person, you need to find another game. You need to go play something else full time and then come back and enjoy this.
Agreed.
How many people have burnt out from Pantheon already? We're going to talk about the rating on Steam in a little bit, but of course it's gone down. How could it not? You've burned through all the material in a matter of a month. They have nothing else for you to do. So play another game. I play EverQuest 2. I raid on EverQuest 2. And I play Pantheon part-time with my friends. And that's perfect. Nathan has other games that he plays. Draq has 100 kids. He doesn't have time for that shit. We have other things going on. Pantheon is not a full-time game yet. Soon, hopefully within a couple years, but not right now. Shouldn't be playing it full time right now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's just not enough content, and they're too small of a team, and et cetera, to pump it out. I still think they could do better than they are doing, but it is what it is. It's what's happening, and for all we know, we're not going to have a new actual dungeon and/or zone to do for a while. Even the roadmap, it had a few things on it, right? But some of that sounded like camp spots.
And no dates. No dates on anything.
Yeah,
other than the PvP server.
The next dungeon was potentially 6 to 8, or the next section was 6 to 8 weeks. That was getting spells and skills to 40 and potentially like some epic spells. And then after that, it was another 6 to 8 weeks to get in I think is what was a dungeon in Eastern Plains.
Not that we know that either, because there was nothing saying that this is 6 to 8 weeks cadence. We don't know those chevrons are 6 to 8 weeks. We're just guessing.
Yeah, it's rough. And, another thing that aggravates me about Pantheon's development cycle right now is that we're 2 years away every month. We're still 2 years away, right? So, like, we're in Q2 of 2025. We're still 2 years away. Like, we're not 1.75 away. We're 2.0 away still.
We said this last week. We're like, the reason everybody's upset and the reason everybody's frustrated is because you look at the roadmap and you're like, man, if you only get that done for this year and we're really only adding 3 more pieces of content, mostly just dungeons, and we're not adding any more zones for the rest of the year, how in the world are we going to be go live in 2 years from the beginning of this year? How's that going to happen?
Yeah, unless they're doing zones, they just don't want us to test them. And if so, they need to say that. They can say, like, hey, we're also working on content we don't even want to test because we need content that's fresh for launch or whatever, right? It's okay to say that if that's the case. I don't think it is. I'm just being super optimistic here. But yeah, it's a real problem, man. It really is. Like, I'm just going to say this right now. Here's how I feel right now. God is good, and for each day that passes brings us still 2 years away from the possible launch of Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. And I can say that every day for this whole year, and it would still be true.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I'm clipping that to our soundboard. I may have just taken over. The new Nathan Napalm clip is now that.
I hope you can clear my laughing out of that, because that is just as good as it gets, my friend. Oh, that's so good.
I would also like to say, too, it's just like, I hope that Pantheon and VR was paying attention, because other MMOs have figured this out. New World figures this out. What's the one that we just played? Hills and Tribes. What the heck is it called?
Throne and Liberty. Yeah.
Throne and Liberty figured this out. All these new MMOs are figuring this out.
What are you talking about?
When you launch your game, every name across every server has to be unique. Because the reason is because in 3 to 6 months, when you have to shrink servers, then it's easy because no one has duplicate names anywhere.
Wow,
and
smart. Yeah,
that's why they're doing it. And
yeah,
so
I complained about that in New World, but you're right. That's probably, they had the foresight to do that.
Yeah, because they're thinking ahead. They know that there's an MMO rush. Everybody wants to be in on the new thing. And then like 2 to 3 months to 6 months in, you're going to have half the population at least.
The Exodus. Yeah, Exodus. It happens to everybody. It doesn't matter.
It happens all the time to everyone. So you have to plan for that, and you have to be paying attention. And what you don't want is what we got going on right now, where you have to fill out a form, email devs with your top 3 names, and just like that's so
with
brutal.
Your top 3 names.
So brutal. Like, 1, it's wasting VR's time, and 2, it is not. I can't even imagine if I had to rename myself from Draq and I had to pick my top 3 names. I'd be hot. I'd be upset. Like, it would make me angry.
Yep.
It's not good on anyone's part. And so they need to get the naming thing, and they need to get it ironclad, and they need to, as painful as it is, nobody gets a duplicate name across any server.
That's what I paid for, Draq.
You have to
take my name.
The VIPs get their one name that they get to reserve, and after that, it's fair game. Let's go.
Well, at least they didn't go with the solution that I've seen other MMOs do, where you're to send a tell or invite to a party or anything that you need a name for, you use their Steam username, because that's
that's awful.
No.
That's
ESO.
awful.
I'm looking at you, ESO. That's BS.
Yeah, totally horrible. Well, also, as you mentioned before, we would like to give a huge shout out to Man of Rohan for the Stormona song that has saved our server and made us a big deal. You know, his song will now live on forever. And I don't know, we're never going to be able to move off the Stormona server. It's ours for life.
Legendary.
It's our server now.
Yep,
legendary.
My Stormona.
Well, we're going to end on a little bit of sad news today. The Pantheon Steam rating Now, I know that Steam ratings aren't the be all end all, but they're important because you could definitely tell the mood of your fan base. If you couldn't tell by the Discord, you could definitely tell by the Steam rating, and it's down. It's down big. It's down from 84% to, when I looked, 61%. And that's a big drop. It's mostly, what is it? Mostly good? I forget what it's called.
Mostly positive?
Mostly positive. That's what it is. It's still mostly positive. So that's still good. But I don't think we've hit the floor yet. Because there's a lot of really negative posts in the Discord and people are getting angry. I just think that like we're headed for a rough patch. Not that in the Pantheon development cycle that we haven't hit rough patches before, because we have. And
we're back, baby.
And
we're so back.
And we've made it through the rough patches before, but I take a look around and I'm like, okay, we're headed for a bit of a rough patch because there's not as many people streaming Pantheon anymore. The ratings are down. The Discord is kind of turned. They're kind of upset. And I think this is a normal part of development. I don't ever like it when we go through these periods because people get angry and people take their anger out on apparently me, because everybody thinks somehow I work for VR, but also just VR themselves, right? And it's just never fun or good.
I don't know, Draq. I disagree. This is where we hit our stride. This is what separates the men and the boys in the streamer land of Pantheon. The three of us have been around, more so Nathan than you and I, Draq, but we've been around for a while too. This is where the rubber meets the road, right? If you can't handle the fire, just get out of the kitchen. And that's what this does. This shows exactly how many low points have we hit? This is at least our second or third or fourth, I should say, Draq. But Nathan, he's been around since almost the beginning. This is like sixth or seventh for him as far as low points go. Remember the dark times? This is exactly what it is. We've lost Joppa. We don't know if we're ever going to see him stream again. So this is like the silent time again. This is the dark time where we don't get the communication that we once had. And it's just an ebb and a flow. And it'll come back and people will be positive about it when they come out with another Bard class or another zone or whatever the case may be is. Everyone will be back, and then they'll not do anything or look like they're not doing anything again, and people will get upset, except us. We're the only ones that are able to weather the storm and still stay somewhat positive. Like, I like when we get called the negative people in the happy times. It's just that we're even keel, right? Like, right. We understand that it's going to get real low. But the people that just dive with that lowness just live in that lowness. But we are on top of the lowness. But we also don't peak at the highest of the high. We're still, in that middle ground because we know we've seen it 100 times that it's going to dip down and it's going to get real bad again. And we're just going to stay even keel. And we're going to look like the positive ones in the negative time. And we're going to look like the negative ones in the positive time. That's just what we do here because we've been around for so long. We've said it so many times on this show that you just have to kind of stick it through. VR is small, and I'm sorry that that's always the excuse that is used during the dark times, but that's what it is. They can't pump out. Yeah, they can't pump out stuff like Monsters and Memories can. Monsters Memory has twice the amount of devs that the VR has, and it's not even nearly as graphically intense or anything like that. So it just, people, stay calm in Pantheon on, to coin an old phrase.
Pantheon patient, baby. Pantheon patient.
and one thing that's always been true through the entire development of Pantheon is if you're aggravated at the current development or the current whatever, just take a break.
Take a break.
Come back
in here.
The problem will be over by the time you come back. There'll be new problems, but that problem you're mad about will be gone, most likely.
There's a reason that Draq and I were not the originators of this podcast, that it has gone through several iterations because people get upset and they need to take a break. And that's completely understandable. And you should take a break. You should not be playing this game full time. The Therics of the world, need to step away. When you dive in so heavily and gets you upset, you need to know internally that it's time to take a break. And he did, and he stepped away, and he will come back refreshed one day. We don't know when that is. Don't ask us. don't put it in the comments because we don't have that answer. Whenever he's done making his board game, just like everybody else, Basgrim will come back, Minus will come back, maybe, and it'll all be fine. And we'll all play the game when 1.0 hits, and we'll go from there.
By the way, Minus came back and played Pantheon about 4 weeks ago. He played for a day.
And he probably really enjoyed the things that were
He
updated,
did.
and then he's going to take some time off again
Yeah.
and come back when they make more updates, and that's great. The long Pantheon game is where it's at. It's not the short term. It's not for people who are just, you can't be looking for a home in Pantheon yet. We do want it to be our forever home, but now is not that time.
Yeah, agreed. It's not a sprint. And you know what? It's not a marathon either. Remember that one time when Forrest Gump like ran across like the world? It's that.
Absolutely. 76 times across America, back and forth.
There you go. It's
That's
that.
exactly right.
Whatever you call that event, the Forrest
Yep.
Gump run. That's what this is.
The Gumpathon.
Your beard's going to grow out. Your kids are going to finish college, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We will get there. Just stay Pantheon patient.
Yep. And I believe in Pantheon, and I love the team a lot. And I still 100% believe in Pantheon as a vision, as a game. I love it. I think it's, in a much, I will still say it's in the best spot it's ever been in today.
Without a doubt.
So that's saying a lot. It hasn't degraded. It has definitely improved. Go back and watch the announcement video for when they announced the graphic change, and then go play Pantheon right now. And you cannot tell me that is not a massive difference. And that wasn't that long ago. And this is a very
100%.
small team.
Yep.
They're coming along. It's almost back to looking close enough to what we thought the game was going to look like. It's almost there, in my opinion.
You might be alone on that opinion.
Okay, I'm being a little bit optimistic.
That's a little.
It's fine.
It's
it looks
way
fine.
closer, though.
I log in and I'm not vomiting inside my mouth when I log in.
I
to
think
look
Brad
at the
McQuaid
graphics.
would say this is, good enough.
With what Vanguard looked like, 100%.
What? Time for me to flex. Y'all know this my thing. It's your boy Benonai, and it's time for the first lore-centric community spotlight. I'm about to share with you the first thing I read after perusing the old website and making a beeline for the lore section. It was what hooked me immediately, and as I look back, part of it has become my story. As one of the keepers of lore outside of the game. Keepers ain't in game yet, but that hasn't stopped me. Listen to this excerpt entitled On Keeping. This is not meant to be a memoir, yet I must share some things about myself. A few friends of merit have noted that I am in fact reaching the evening of life, and despite the incidental rudeness, I consider prudent their advice to compose a trove of missives, directing the well-inclined on how to account for this, my humble vault of the history of Terminus, and a few things beyond. I have always begrudged the names draped over this office, for I consider myself not of repute, renown, or even regard. I was never meant to wear armor, and I was never meant to hold a title. Yet I have stood accused as a thief, blasphemer, usurper, and general malfeasant in several courts and one tribunal, though in most cases I was fortunately acquitted and in one, rescued. More than once, I have been approached by unprincipled men with offers to elevate my status by simply recording events more or less favorably. To wit, Festus of Highbrace is a fraud. At least in this day and years past, I esteemed him a companion in the archival devotion and a friend outside of it. Sadly, like too many, he has heard the clink of gold preferable to the rustle of pages and spins his myths for a deplorable profit. I say this only to bid the reader warning, if he or she should seek to combine our respective collections, and also to shame him. To this end, I hardly allow myself to take any patronage, for I am a normal man, and fear even genuine kindness could unduly lighten the weight of truth, dulling my discernment. My life has oft been under threat, more so by nobility and less often by pilferers, yet I cannot permit misdeed affect my labor any more than generosity. Setback is a ritual that attends true discovery, it seems. I've had 2 shops burned to the stones in the ground. 4 chests stolen, though. One was entirely filled with dung-rubbed rocks, and another rigged with an ingenious trap of inflammatory sapwood and pitch, at considerable price with considerable result. I have been hexed, cursed, haunted, hunted, whipped, expelled, excommunicated, imprisoned, and briefly enslaved. Yet Terminus has always granted I linger in her company, and it is my fervent belief that some sovereign presence desires the guarding of all these precious things. Indeed, I believe myself preserved for this purpose. So what is my name, or rather, who am I? A fond, departed friend once called me a loomer of legends, which is bright, but quite unrepeatable. The loomer rings like false gold, which is the worst kind. And though there are many hails from the array of tribes, clans, kingdoms, and so forth, which I gladly reply, none so fit the role as much the man. And that is why I meekly take the office of keeper. Though just as quickly pray it endures beyond my keeping. For when I am finally deposited amongst the dead, this world will still require remembering. And thus I write it all down and supplicate that one may send another companion to unquiet my study. One who is truly lit with the same zeal, inclined to sacrifice in favor of the most necessary stewardship. Yet such persons are rarer than any precious stone, rune, or spell. Thus, until I die, the Keeper. This is how Terminus introduced itself to me, a world that was part game, as even the real world can be. It begged to uncover mysteries that in any other game would have just been a curiosity told by an idiot, full of sound and VFX, signifying nothing. But in Terminus, it may be the curiosity that leads to unlocking the potential of the entire world, as has been hinted by Joppa. The current predicament we find ourselves in is a lack of meaningful lore within the game, though it is being worked, and a lack of access to lore outside the game, though it too is being rectified soon. That leaves one of the pillars on which Pantheon is built to be wholly missing. Without it, this is a game, not a world. So to ease the suffering of those who long for the perception system and the keeper ability system, I want to share with you what new players and old forgetful types can do to satiate this desire. So we turn to the community. Those with login credentials to the official forums, that would be all those who pledged prior to EA. You can find an expanded collection of released and official lore being posted under the lore subforum here. It is already quite an exhaustive list, and it adds to what knowledge you can get from the race pages on the official website here. With just this, it should keep you busy for as much time as is necessary until we start seeing lore and lore systems populate in the world. But for those who have joined the Pantheon community since EA, hold tight. The lore subforum will be moved to publicly viewable very soon, at which point everyone can dig in. Until then, however, you do have some options. Static Group Live, of which you probably have never ever heard, has for many years tracked the lore releases and created videos where lore is read and discussed. You can find most of these in one easy playlist, obviously named Theric's Lore Library, and found here. There also is a collection of lore pieces that were read by Chris Kane, a professional voiceover actor who has been part of the community for years, and those can be found here. Tooting on my own personal horn, there are a few videos where I discuss lore drops and game additions and their connection with known lore. There are also videos that are lore adjacent, where I use the lore of the game to create new content or strange takes reading between the lines of the lore releases. This assemblage can be found here. I'm tired, y'all, but we gotta keep this thing going. You got to hold on. So, if you don't like nonfiction, how about learning about the lore of the game through story? Publicly available on the website is a subforum for fan fiction. This is more helpful than you may realize. There has been a plethora of good writers over the years that have taken the official text and created their stories around them. Some of them are not as careful as others, so if you have a question, you can DM me on Discord and ask. I think I've read all of them. But they are all helpful to an extent, and they cover a broad range of historical events and racial backdrops. Check them out if you got time. I am so bored that I have put many of my fanfiction tales on YouTube as audiobooks. The current one I am working on is a collaboration with many of the content creators in our community. Shout out to Desrin, Fate, Draq, Theric, Redbeard, Flynn, Chris Kane, Lotu, Sparrow, Tango Hotel, Marty, Christian, Mana Rohan, and more added all the time. You can find this collection at these locations. If you would like to be part of this project, I ain't paying you, so don't ask. But if you like working for free, hit me up with a DM and I'll definitely get you involved. I want to take a second and thank those that have helped the devs out by leaving feedback, questions, and hopes for the future on the Discord under the Quest and Lore. Livka and I are proposing all of these ideas to the devs with responses from them when we can. It has so far been a great system to see changes reflected in-game from your comments, so keep them coming. Special thanks to Rajaki, Dembe, Libwick, obviously, K Delta T, the math nerd apparently, Flourishing, Dobby, Majestic, Revulo, Burdop, Eratani, Raydil, Alex, Ruben, Maroon, Nina, Gyrus, Dracul, Dystopia 77, Dance with Terataya, Last Obelisk, and so many others. Y'all making the game good, bro. Now, I'm sorry for all those who don't care about the lore, because once everybody starts hitting these resources, you better hide your wife, hide your kids, and hide your husbands, because they luring everybody up in here.
So you can run and tell that, homeboy.
Draq, I'm so disappointed in you.
Luckily, every week I dominate this list and just destroy Dymlos.
I thought you would just tuck your head between,
No
your butt
way!
cheeks.
No, my list is
And
amazing.
It's not at all. Oh, already your list is the worst. Your list is the worst.
Top five. All right, Nathan, you have come back. Since you've been gone, I have won.
Since you've been gone,
346 times to
Not true.
Dymlos' 1.
0. He has
Just-
yet to
just-
win.
Just
Like
let you.
Drax's list game has it's leveled up.
It
has
not.
leveled up.
It has not.
I have the
His
Pantheon ding. That's what I got.
His number 2
judge.
snack being water is still to this day infamous. We still bring it up. His lists are always terrible, and I have a feeling, I'm certainly not looking right at it right now. I've got a feeling that this one's going to be terrible too.
This list is basically all-star list. That's what
Okay,
you're looking at
there's
right
no
now.
way. All right, Jack. Well, let's hear it. What's number 5?
My number 5 emoji is shout out to Vindini because Canada flag number 5. Let's go. Hail Canada.
Hail Canada.
Tear up the crap out of them and let's move on. Number 5.
Are you kidding me? Do you have the American flag in your top 5?
No.
You can
No,
just-
wait a minute. That's
listen,
not comparable, Dymlos. No,
What do you
wait.
mean?
You got it wrong.
What do you mean?
He needs to put like something like the Washington state flag because that's the 51st state, I thought.
Oh, no. He's going to El Salvador. I'm letting Trump know you're headed to El Salvador.
No, I love it. I mostly just use it to annoy Vindini. So yeah, Canada number 51. What about your number 5, Mr. Nathan Napalm?
I'm going with the toilet. It's just there's so many uses, like somebody says, somebody mentions something bad, like, hey, they screwed up this remake, and you just drop a toilet, like, or if somebody's like, hey, I need this report done, drop a toilet. I'm taking a poo, bro. You're gonna have to wait. I can't get that report done just yet.
So you only
love
use
it.
this emoji once every week, is what you're saying?
I use it only for that particular purpose.
Oh, right.
But it has many uses. The toilet is a great one, and it's underused. It's underused.
For sure. I don't use it often.
Well, tell us one you do use often, Dymlos.
Nathan, I feel like I've absolutely been replaced on this show because usually I go second, and he has totally skipped me, and you are the one that's going
I
second.
noticed that.
Well,
I
you
noticed
kind
that.
of are in third place, so
Oh,
out
great.
of the three of us.
All right.
snap.
Well, my number 5 is the crown. The head is heavy that wears the crown, which is me because I win this every week. So every top 5 I have is crown class because I am the king, and your top 5 is terrible, Draq. Get out. Speaking of terrible top 5s, what's your number 4, Draq, on this list of emojis?
Did you just call Joppa terrible? Because my number 4 emoji is Joppa.
No one has this emoji. You're the only one that has this emoji because you were the only one that pays for Nitro.
No, if you join the Static Group Live server, you too can have the Joppa emoji. And
this isn't a real emoji.
if
This
you
is a
pay
fake
for the-
made-up emoji.
if you
Just
pay-
like all your fake made-up card games last week, this is a fake made-up emoji.
This
if
is
you-
an advertisement emoji.
if you pay for Nitro, you can then sprinkle Joppa across every Discord server that will allow you to do so. So Joppa number 4, and you're fired from the Joppa fan club, Dymlos. But Nathan, you're not fired. What's your number 4?
I'm going with the monkey hear no evil.
Good
you
one.
know, the monkey holding his little ears. I like
Yep,
it a lot
yep.
because people say stuff you don't want to hear. And you plop that out. Somebody says something to me in my current job and position that is not HR appropriate. I can drop the monkey hear no evil, which means I'm going to pretend like you didn't say that. You know what I mean?
love
You
it.
can use it for so many things. I love the monkey hear no evil. It's beautiful.
And it's a real emoji.
Yeah, it's real across all platforms. You don't have to pay extra for it. But although you guys should pay extra to get the job because it is really good.
Well, sure, but
Really
it's
good.
not a real emoji.
Really good.
If it's not on my phone, it's not a real emoji.
Speaking of things that aren't good, Dymlos, what's your number 4?
Are you kidding me? This one's on your list too. How could you say this is not good? Number 4 is the flame. The flame is hot fire. It spits hot fire. It goes right next to the crown. When you're the king and you're the king of fire, it's the two combo together as one beautiful emoji to tell people how awesome they are. You got the crown. You are the fire. Both together means you're even more awesome than just each of them individually.
The flame feels good to receive, by the way. It feels good.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you feel like you did a good job. I like the flame.
Absolutely. Yep.
My problem isn't with the flame. It's that you put it too low. That's usually how you do these things. Is you undersell.
I don't know. You called it stupid, Drax. So
You undersell the flame, which is what you've done. No, I called your
Okay.
choice stupid, as in
Oh.
you put the flame too low at number 4.
speaking of stupid choices, how about your number 3, Drac?
My number 3 is of course the Orange Wizard, because nothing says you just got owned. Like when I put an Orange Wizard on your post.
Okay, let me check. Let me check on Orange Wizards. We've got Gandalf the Gray and the White. We've got Radagast the Brown. We've got Saruman the White. We've got no orange. There's no Orange Wizard. So
Sauron is the orange.
Sauron's not a wizard. He's an eyeball. He's a death knight.
No, that was
It's very flamey-ish.
you have to go deeper into the lore to really have that knowledge.
Oh,
The fire
okay.
wizard. It's the fire wizard.
Well, the fire
Absolutely.
wizard would be red, wouldn't it?
Orange.
No, orange. Orange is Fire Wizard. Yep.
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, your flame is literally orange. What are you talking about, Doc?
I mean, in Final Fantasy, isn't it the red wizard?
No one
No,
likes
the-
the Red Wizard. The Red Wizard
No.
is dumb.
The red wizard doesn't do fire. Well, he can.
He does.
He's a combo though between
Yeah.
white mage and black mage.
Speaking of where it's at, Nathan, what's your number 3?
The scream, the ah with the little blue coming down. You know, I like that one. You know, it's a great one to throw out there. Like somebody says something shocking, scream emoji.
Kind of
Somebody
looks
says
like that
something scary.
Vincent Van Gogh. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the Vincent Van Gogh scream. That is what it
Yeah,
is. That's what I think of when I post it. Every
me
time.
as well. That's a good one.
Not a good one. Dymlos, what's your number 3?
Wow. Wow. So my number 3 is what I like to call celebration. We might be able to scroll over it and see something else that it's called different. But it's a
Confetti.
little confetti / the celebration horn. You know, I
Mhm.
love sending this one. This is when someone has done something so great that it deserves to be celebrated. And so I love sending this one. I love championing people when they do a great job, unlike Drac with his Orange Wizard. This is a real emoji, unlike most of Drac's, and deserves to be celebrated. My
And you don't
number
just
3.
haphazardly throw that one around either.
No, you do
know?
not.
That's a
Nope.
respect. That's like you got to earn.
I mean,
that
the
one.
greater respect would be the Flame Wizard, but whatever.
There's no flame wizard. It's just orange wizard, which is
The flaming
the
orange
wizard of the fruit oranges. Great. do you cast orange ball?
Sun-kissed wizard.
You crush spells.
Yes! Dude, if Crush had a wizard on it, that's all I'd drink.
A Fanta wizard.
The
Just
fence.
let me get that Fanta wizard.
I don't even care. Whichever orange drink does it, I'm in. I will switch to your orange drink if you do put an orange wizard.
Wanna, don't you wanna Fanta wizard? Nope, doesn't work. Doesn't work. It's terrible.
Well,
choice.
you know what else I want is my number 2, which is, of course, one of the greatest emojis of all time, which is the flame. The flame
Pretty good.
is the ultimate wizard. It's better than the celebration. It's better than all the other nonsense. The flame is, other than my number 1, the best emoji that there is.
Terrible.
The flame is good. It's really good. I do not put that on my list, however, and I want to tell everybody why.
Please.
I have only given out the flame 2 times in my entire life
Wow.
because I feel like it is such a prestigious award, that I want to keep the prestigiousness of the flame emoji. So I did not put that on my list.
Also, if you turn the flame sideways, it's a fireball. So that even makes it even greater.
Not
right?
that you could turn it sideways. Now you're just making shit up, Draq, like most of your list. Like most of your emojis and all of your card games from last week.
Speaking of making things up, Nathan, how about your number 2?
My number 2 is the rolling on the floor laughing, dude. It's a great
Absolutely.
one.
You might as well just post mine up there too, Draq, because that's my number 2 as well. So this is where Nathan Napalm and I see eye to eye, as we do on most everything. Yep.
Yeah. It's good, man. And, like most things I post are supposed to be funny. So I get the ROFL, I get the laughing to you cry out both eyes, man. That feels good. Like that's what
I'm
I
so
wanted.
glad we don't have to text LOL anymore.
Yeah.
We needed an emoji for this, and this is
We
the
did.
perfect one.
Yep. 2 tears coming
I
down.
like to laugh. I like to laugh a lot. I like to roll on the floor laughing a lot.
Me
And
too.
this shows that I am doing that in real life.
And also, I'd like to mention, like, LOL, like the littler laugh you can do, right?
Yeah.
That's like this, like, or maybe even just a, right? ROFL is like,
Yeah.
you know, that's a
crushed
good
it.
one. Yeah,
Something
that's
I would never send Draq because
That-
he's not funny.
when somebody posts something to ROFL, I go show somebody the post.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
look at this. Hilarious.
Look at this. Yep,
that good.
absolutely.
Yep.
Speaking of showing people your posts, my number 1 emoji is, of course, the Draq emoji. And you know that you have made it in Discord if you get the Draq emoji from the Ultimate Wizard. And if I place that Draq emoji on your post, you know that it's been thought out, it's been researched, it's well-timed, it's probably comedic, and you'll probably tear up at the end because that is reserved for the most elite of the elite posts, and only then do I give out the Draq emoji.
This is the most narcissistic, masturbatory thing you've ever fucking done in any of these lists, Draq. I cannot believe that you just are stroking your own ego to the point where you have made yourself the number 1 emoji. Everyone in chat right now is absolutely shitting on you for doing this. I cannot believe. I hope everyone is posting the poop emoji right now because it is absolutely what your number 1 should be.
I mean, they're probably just sitting around wondering to themselves, how can I get Draq to put the Draq emoji on me? That's probably what they're doing.
No one wants the Draq emoji on them. Well, I can assure you.
Speaking of things I don't want on me, how about your number 1, Nathan?
Okay, so hear me out. All right. This is kind of a lame pick. All right. I will admit this is kind of a lame number 1. And
I don't know.
Really think about it, right? The thumbs up, man. You know how much time the thumbs up emoji saves us? It means accepted, gotcha, okay, heard that. I'm on it. I'll do that. I'll pay. I mean, even emails, dude, even corporate emails, they send you an email, you can give it a thumbs up.
Here's the problem, Nathan. is now with this new generation that is, younger than we are.
Uh-huh.
The thumbs up means something completely different.
What does it mean to them, by the way? I
It's
don't know.
more like a almost like a middle finger. Like
Wow.
it's like a very like, oh, thumbs up, sort of very sarcastic situation. Yeah,
What?
it does not mean the same thing to Gen Z as it does to us. So
Well,
be careful where you fling that thumb up around.
I'm flinging it around, baby. I am
Hell
at the
yeah.
age now where, you know what? Screw you and your new terminology. I'm too old. I don't care what you think it means. I'm going to do what I think it means. And that is...
We're Gen X, baby. We do not care about
We
your
don't
thumbs
care.
up.
Well,
Yeah.
you're Gen X.
We don't care about
Draq.
their feelings. Listen, I'm claiming Gen X, okay? I am
Why?
enough of a, what are we called again? I'm
Millennials?
unfortunately a millennial. I'm enough of a millennial that I am going to go ahead and say right now that I identify as a Gen X, and I'm allowed to do that as a millennial.
Well, it's called Zennial is what you're looking for.
Nathan, we will, as I speak for Gen X, we will take you,
Thank
but
you.
we will not take Dymlos. Okay, so that's settled.
Fine. Listen, I'm as much of a Zennial as anybody else. I am right there. So it doesn't matter what you say, Draq. You can stay with your crippled Gen Xers that are all old and can't get off the toilet without the assistance of a cane. But
So let me get this straight. I'm sorry. I'm dragging this on.
no, it's fine.
So if a young person, a young, tween were to hop on Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and he pops up and he gives a big thumbs up, they'd be like, oh, turn it off. What a jerk.
It's more the emoji itself.
Only
it's
the
not
emoji.
necessarily like if we were to be in person and you were to give me a thumbs up, they wouldn't think
That'd be
that you were
different.
flipping off.
Well, to
they
me,
think-
it's the same thing. Like, I actually give thumbs up in real life.
well, yeah, me too. I totally do.
And when I thumbs up something, I'm literally doing that.
Yeah, no, I as a Zennial / older person, I am right there with you.
All right.
But yeah, the Zers, they think of it as okay, great. Sort of a sarcastic.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So be careful who you fling that to if you don't know what their age is. Make sure you're not like offending them. But send me all the thumbs up you want to, buddy. I'm right there with you. I'm thumbsing up you right back.
Speaking of being offensive, Dymlos, what's your number one?
My number one is all about love. And it's not just the single heart, but it is the double heart. Because I love to love. And I want to show my affection to the people that I love, like both of you. I give you both a double heart right now because I love you both.
Oh, it's so sweet.
I don't love your list track, but I do love you.
I'll take that as a win this week anyway.
No, you
Undefeated
shouldn't.
2025
No.
Draq. Give it a Draq emoji. Let's go.
Blech.
Well, you know who didn't win this week, Dymlos.
Well, before we do, I'm not going to forget this week. Please, Draq, if you could make the sound.
Biddly-doo, biddly-doo, biddly-doo.
And up pops our Patreon's list. Well, let's just run through this absolute vomit. Of the Patreons, it looks like Screech is probably going to win. So we're just going to hit Screech real quick. He's got the hug. Great. He's got the vomit face. Great.
That's a good one.
He's got the confused face. Another great one. Just that one has a whole lot of meanings to it. It's super good. Number 2, Flame. Great. Number 1, thumbs up. So this is a great list, Screech.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good one.
of the Patreons, you win because the other 2 that put in their choices have gone full porno, which is terrible. So we've got Zip with the eggplant, which
This is
we
a
all know.
PG-13 stream, people. Come on.
Well, not right now because we've got the eggplant, which we all know is a big old cock, right? We've got.
Hang on a second. Before you continue, I want the audience listening. Zip has done something. I just realized what he did here. Listen as Dymlos is reading these out and put them together in your head. And he sent you guys a message. Actually.
He did tell us a little story.
This
You're
is
right.
a story. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So he's got eggplant for 5, shrug for 4, the peach for number 3, which we know is booty, the poop for number 2. So the poop comes out of the peach booty. And then he's super happy. He's got the smile face. So he's got the front. He shrugs. I guess he looks at his penis and he shrugs because he can't see it. Then he sits on a toilet, uses his butt peach to poop, and then makes a smiley face when he's done. So
I was thinking the story would be like eggplant happens. Why? I don't know. Oh, a booty and it's pooping? Oh, smiley face, happy me. That's what I was thinking it meant.
oh, well, I mean, these are both good stories. Like, these are just... Unfortunately, Draq has no idea that emojis have different meanings to him. So he's like, oh, eggplant, what does that mean? Let me tell you, Draq, it's a penis.
So I didn't need to know that. I know. I was happy living in my obliviousness.
Yep. So now we go even worse. We've got archbishops who list peach number 5, which is the booty, the eggplant number 4, which is the penis, the 3 water droplets, which is a man's action after he has said, no one's listening to the show. There's only 5 listeners left. It's cum. It's a man's cum, which then he gives the thumbs up to before he drops a poop on our face. Yeah. So this is another story. So Archbishops also was telling us a story.
He likes the booty. It makes his eggplant come out. And some juices may fly.
The man juice.
Like, good job. And then he poops, I guess.
Yep. This is... we've got some sick listeners. Wow. I'm so glad that only
this is why you became a Patreon. This is the reason.
So you can embarrass Draq on his show.
You can put dirty emojis in the top 5. That's it. That's our
Patreon. Yeah, that is the group of people that we attract.
Nothing is more Patreon than that.
Yeah, I completely agree. Could you imagine if Dwimble would have done this? I'm so glad he didn't, because this would be like the worst.
We'd had to give a warning before we did Dwimble's list for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad. So, yeah, well, great job, Screech, Zip, and Archbishops. You two are sick fucks, but we appreciate your money.
Before you leave, we've one final word. Before you've forgotten all that you've heard, there is a moment evergreen. Stay here a while and listen to me.
All right, Dymlos, we've come to the end again.
But luckily I never have to say goodbye to Nathan, because for me, Nathan is just a very quick text away. I am proud to be on that short list of people who can reach Nathan quickly.
Yeah, we daily talk about something.
Yep, absolutely. So, Nathan, I'll never say goodbye to you.
Good.
Draq, on the other hand, I'm definitely saying goodbye to your shitty list.
Whoa,
get your shitty emojis out.
All right.
I'm kidding. I messaged Draq just as much as I messaged Nathan. This is a good little 3-way bromance that we have. I appreciate it.
I like the bromance.
Wait, all right. Before we go, are we announcing Monsters and Memories Early Access, the event? We're getting the old crews back together, and we're going to do a race, right?
Oh.
No, we're definitely not doing that.
No sleep till 35.
I would be willing to do a no sleep stream with you again, but we're never racing again.
Never racing again.
Yeah, that's never happening. Nope.
It did bring us closer together, though. I do feel like...
Hey, if you can't survive a little drama and a little anger in your friendships, then, like, what are you really doing?
Yeah.
Those aren't your real friends.
It was our only drama, too, in all these years.
In all the years.
It only lasted 2 days.
Well, double hearts for both of you.
I give you a Draq emoji for the day.